Welcome to the Sun Island.
Welcome again, guys. Sun Island Energy Bridge. We are ecstatic today to have Patricia here with us today. Patricia is a medical doctor, and she's going to be sharing with us her story and her journey as far as her becoming a doctor. She is, I might add that she is a close family friend. So we're just going to be chilling on today, right? We're going to be chilling on today, just talking about a whole host of topics, okay?
Okay.
But definitely we're going to dig into, just your journey overall. So let's just start with a little bit of a background, right? Where is Patricia from?
Well, I'm from Houston, Texas. Originally, my family is from Nigeria, Yoruba, so that's my original background. Born and raised out here in Houston. Went to school in the southwest side of town. And in the area where I grew up in, it wasn't the nicest area. However, I had really supportive parents that pushed me and my siblings to be where we are today.
Excellent. So immigrant parents, right?
Correct.
That's a theme. I always say immigrants get the job done, and I'll forever say that.
That's true.
So, no, me as an individual that has is an immigrant, direct immigrant, and I have kids, I'm going to ask you a little bit about that kind of as we progress. But, okay, so southwest side of town, you said it's not the most desirable part of town. But then you went to, what was your journey like as far as, because I do know you didn't had the traditional route. I knew you
I
became
did.
like a nurse.
Yeah.
So talk about that, how you transitioned from high school to get to medical school.
So, just like every other student at that time, you graduate from high school, you think that you're going to go to a 4-year college. And I had every plan of going to Baylor College. I actually got accepted. And my dad had other plans for me. Told me about an LVN program, which is a licensed vocational nursing program that I could go to, and I could do it for a year. And that way I would be able to make income to support myself while I went through college. So instead of going the 4-year route, initially, I went and did my LVN. So I did that, and soon after that, after graduating from there, I knew that, okay, I need a bachelor's degree to get into medical school. So I began researching, and I just decided that, okay, well, I might as well get a bachelor's degree in nursing since I've already did LVN. So I started that journey, successfully completed my bachelor's degree in nursing. And then after that, I thought I was ready to go to medical school.
Okay.
And then I found out through more research online that no, there's still some more classes you have to take before you can even go to medical school.
Even with the bachelor's?
Even with a bachelor's in nursing.
Okay.
And so I went on to community college. I did my physics, I did my organic chemistry, microbiology, all those different classes. And then I said, okay, it's time for me to go to medical school. Next roadblock is the MCAT.
Okay.
So took the MCAT, and I didn't do too well in the first time. No, I thought it was one of those exams that I just walk in and I'll be good because I was always a pretty decent test taker. Didn't do well. I felt pretty defeated after that, but I could not let go of my dream. So I decided to take a review course. Did that and took the exam again, and I did pretty well after that. However, because I didn't really have any mentorship or guidance, I did not know that to apply for medical school in the United States, there was a time limit. I always thought it was like rolling admissions. So by the time I took the MCAT again and got those scores back, I would not be eligible to reapply until the following year. And for me, in that time frame, which is now, if I do the math, I'm not going to say my age.
No, are you good?
That's like almost 10 years ago. And in my mind, I had a time limit of, okay, well, I have to be at a certain point in life by this age. I was always like that.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, I just thought that the dream of me becoming a doctor was over. Went to work, super, super defeated. I started seeing a new doctor on our unit, and something compelled me to go talk to her. Went up to her and just to see where she went to school, and she told me about a school called Saba in the Caribbean.
Nice.
And she told me that she had to work very hard, but it was doable, and that look at her now and look at where she is. I said, okay. I said, all right, let me do some research on Caribbean schools, and that's what led me down that path. But still, even though I did that, I applied to the top schools, including Saba. I still didn't hear anything, so I knew I was done with nursing. I quit nursing and decided to do health informatics. Left Houston, moved to Austin. And then while I was there, I got an email that I've been selected for an interview for Saba, and the rest is history. And now I'm here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Graduated.
Graduated.
With an MD. Don't leave out the most important part now.
That's true.
That is phenomenal. That's quite a journey. Okay, so we got to dig into that now.
Yeah, okay.
So just being defeated, right?
Yeah.
You took the MCAT and it didn't go well. What? And you said you went back to just work. So you flat out got punched directly to the ground. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you fell flat on your face.
Gut punch.
A gut punch, right?
Yeah.
How did you got there? So two things here. After working that hard to get that far, why did you think you fell that flat, which you did, and what picked you back up?
I fell down flat because I didn't prepare, right? So it's like preparation meets opportunity. Like you have to be prepared for the opportunity, right? So even though I felt like I was a good test taker, this had proved to be one of the hardest things I've ever had to do because I just thought it was going to be easy. For me, nursing school was rather easy. It wasn't a degree that, again, for me, that I felt like really stressed me out. I think I went through nursing school with ease. However, medical school was, the process of medical school and in medical school that's not the case. It was a completely different thing. It was a huge learning curve. And so I think that as far as the MCAT is concerned, I was not prepared. But what motivated me was because I know myself, and I know that if I actually prepare for something, I will do well. I believe that God has seen me through everything, right? Yeah. So as long as I do my part, there's no way that God is not going to allow this thing to happen for me. So that is what motivated me to try again.
Okay. So you leaned in on your faith.
100%.
100%. Okay. So that's a lot of confidence because a lot of people, and you're not ever expecting somebody to become a doctor and they have not faced a lot of trials and tribulations. And we're going to dig in stuff like that. But individuals need to be confident whenever they get, thrown to the floor to get back up, dust themselves off, and move forward. Where do you think that just inner belief, where do you think that came from?
I believe it comes from finding God for yourself, one. And there's also this proverb that my dad used to always say. He used to say, the people who have done it before you, they don't have two heads. And I say this up until now. There's people who have done all these great things, and they don't have two heads. They have one head.
I love it.
They have an idea, they have a goal, and they kept for it. They kept going on for it. So it's the same logic I apply to my life. It's the same advice I give my friends, I give my siblings. If they tell me, oh, Trish, I want to do this, I'm like, do it. What you afraid of? Yeah. The people who did it, they don't have two heads.
Everybody put on their pants one leg at a time.
One leg at a time.
I heard that one.
It's the exact same thing.
It gives you a lot of confidence just knowing that. You mentioned your dad just gave you that simple little saying, simple proverb that shaped you. What was it like being raised by immigrant parents?
It was not easy.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not easy as far as they have their own expectations for you, but also, at this age, you start to see your parents in a more humanistic way, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to figure out life themselves. They're trying to navigate life. They're trying to be providers. They're trying to take care of you, take care of themselves. They're trying to be happy too. But when you're a child, you're not seeing that. You don't understand that. You're looking at them like, you should have it figured out. Like you should have, I shouldn't have to face anything. So it was difficult in some degrees. There was a lot of love. And I will say that me and my siblings really leaned in on each other as well. So,
And been knowing you as long as I have, I did notice something specifically with you and your sibling, three sister, one brother, right? And you guys are super close. And close to the point where it's not everybody get that gift. I call it a gift.
Yeah.
How did those relationships got fostered to be that close? Like you guys are a family.
yeah,
How does that come about?
I think we talk, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm always super involved, and I'm always advocating for us to be there for each other. Like, if there's no one else that's going to help us, we need to help each other. And even when I went to nursing school, and there was a point where my siblings were kind of like doing their own thing. Oh, I don't want to do nursing. I want to do this. I want to do that, whatever the case may be. But there was a particular point, there was a shift where I started working, I started making money. And back then, which is so long ago, I had money.
Yes.
I was a young girl, I had money, and I was taking care of everybody. But I knew that I didn't want to be the only one, and I never wanted to worry about them. So, I will always try to motivate them like, yo, do this, do that, trust me. Whatever dreams that you have, you can always pursue those dreams, but just let this be your stepping stone. So, we've always supported each other, and we've always had each other's back. And I think that's very important. We can count on each other. And so that brings a foundation, right? Trust, loyalty. And that's pretty much it.
And that would give anybody confidence, no matter
For
what
sure.
in your life, no matter what happened. I know I have and that's a lot of people. That's a lot of siblings.
It's a
right?
gang.
You know, like a whole gang that's on my team, no matter what. So
No matter what.
That is, and what you said just now by tooting your own horn, I don't think you're doing that. Just by knowing you from all this time, that's genuinely you. Because people who develop over time, because with life there's stages and levels, right?
Yeah.
And you're developing. I've noticed that you've always find a way to stay grounded to Houston. You stay grounded to your family. You stay grounded to your home, because you just basically just outlined your story, and it took you to different areas in the U.S. and it took you to a whole nother country.
Yeah.
You always make time to come back to family, and that is a key. But it takes a lot of inspiration to move from the Southwest. Let's just face it, the facts, right? A young black girl from the Southwest to becoming a whole doctor. It's not like a thing that's just gonna happen to anybody. A lot of folks would want to do that, but there's steps. What drives you to take you from A to know where you are, which is you're still in your journey, but what's your why, or just what's your overall motivation? And the reason why I ask it like that, you said the word dream with so much passion in your voice. I could not let go of my dream, and I felt that.
Yeah.
So where did that dream came from? And like, what's your overall vision for yourself? Why it's so powerful to evolve your life over time?
I remember we used to stay in this apartment off of Creek Bend. So anybody that's watching the podcast right now, if you know about Creek Bend, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So we stayed in these apartments. Actually, there were townhomes on Creek Bend. And I remember going to school in elementary school, and we had like a career day. And I went to AA Milne, and they really decked out this career day. It was like super dope.
It was real
It
deal.
was real deal.
Okay.
And this one particular classroom had all these black people, black people who had did great things in the world as I knew it at that time, right? So it was like, oh, who's the first person to create this and the first person to create that? Who was the first neurosurgeon, black neurosurgeon? And I remember walking like, whoa, I want to do that.
Representation
Yes.
at its finest.
Representation. So I saw the black neurosurgeon. I'm like, I want to be just like that person. That's exactly what I said. And so I came home and I said, Mommy, Daddy, I want to be a doctor.
Wow.
And that was from childhood. And I kept on with that in the back of my mind that no matter what, I'm going to be a doctor. Did I actually think that was going to happen? To a degree, probably not. You know, like if I could be honest, all things considered. But
Yeah.
when my dad took me, well, not took me, when he helped me make a decision to do the LVN, this is a very honest thing. I was upset.
Interesting.
It's not that I wanted to go and do LVN. I wanted to go to a four-year college. I wanted to have the experience, the lifestyle, and even though then I was saying I wanted to go to medical school, in hindsight, if I really think about it, would I have really went to medical school just because I went to Baylor? It's a likelihood I probably would not have. And there's different reasons I can think of, and part of it is being distracted.
Interesting.
But I think God wanted to take me to a place where I had to be alone. So I left Houston. I went to a very small town called Seguin. Went to LVN school. I was the youngest person in the class. All the ladies were old. I mean, they probably watching this too, but they were older. And but I was the baby in the class, and I didn't take nothing serious. I walked. No, I walked in. We went through a week of like material, and that following Monday, I walk in the morning, and everybody is like reading papers and talking to each other, and I'm like, why is everybody panicking? Like, I'm completely clueless, right? Yeah. And I remember asking someone, hey, what are you guys doing? We're preparing our exams in 10 minutes. I was like, exam?
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, I'm about to fail. Like, my daddy about to be mad at me because there's no way. I had no idea I had a test.
Yeah.
Because I didn't look at the rubric.
Nothing, yeah.
Nothing. And I knew from that moment on, everybody thought I was stupid. Took the exam, I made a 60%. For someone who didn't study anything, right? Yeah. So I called my dad. I was like, hey, Daddy, I had a test today. He said, okay, how did it go? I said, I didn't do so well. And I remember he sounded so disappointed on the phone, and he says, well, just do your best. I was like, he doesn't think I can do this. That's exactly what my thought was. Wow. He doesn't think I can do this. No one here thinks I can do this. And rather than me internalizing and saying, you know what? Okay, can't do it.
Yeah.
I went home and I started researching what is actually LVN.
Wow.
Yeah. I researched it and I looked to see how much they make.
Okay.
Yeah. I started looking. I said, okay. You know, then I was a kid. So I'm like, oh, well, I leave
you were
here.
Like, what, 19, 20, 21?
I was, no, then I was 18.
I don't want to try to.
Yeah. I was 18.
But yeah. Because your approach, it's probably, I would think it's important. Because just your approach, it was like you were just like flying like a little butterfly. So the age is important.
The age is important. Okay, for context, I was 18.
18, got you.
Researched how much they were going to make. And I think back then they were starting them off at 18. And I was like, nah, if I do this, my first job I'm making $21 an hour. That's exactly what I told myself. Came back, started killing the exams, you know, doing what I had to do. Yes. And I got out of that, right? So, you know, I forgot what point I was trying to make even with bringing up that whole scenario. But point is, you know, I never allowed the different disappointments to take me off of what I wanted to do with my life. You know, it's very easy for people to make you feel, especially being Black or Black female. It's hard. It's not easy. But people make you feel like you're not capable or you're incompetent. It's very easy to get that, but you have to honestly believe in yourself. And when you get in these spaces where you get to be around people of different backgrounds, and you start to realize that, hey, we're all the
They
same.
don't have two heads.
They don't have two heads.
Let's go.
We're all the same. This person may be strong in this part, but I'm strong here.
Correct.
You know? And I started to see that. And I think that sometimes when we are only around our own people, it can be a little bit intimidating because you feel like, oh, they may have something, they know something that I don't know. But once you get in the room with these different people, you start to realize that, no, we all have something that we can contribute.
Correct.
We're all smart, we're all capable. Then you start to understand that, no, I belong here. I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And so that's really what it was.
Yeah. So you got an opportunity to get in rooms to understand that you belong. But even way back, it was just as simple as exposure.
Exposure. Yeah.
Simple as exposure. You got exposed, and one thing led to another and another. And it seemed like you had your dad there pushing you in a certain direction, and you kind of, I wouldn't say resist, but you reluctantly accepted. But sometimes people self-sabotage.
Yeah.
See?
For sure.
Especially if they feel like, especially I know this, I understand this, especially when you think I want to do X, but you have zero life experience. Somebody's telling you to do Y. I know everything.
Yeah.
Your kids, usually, when you're at
Yes, it's
18,
true.
I was exactly like that coming
Yeah.
up as a kid. But you listened.
Yeah, I did listen.
Why?
Because I think I listened because I think people doubting me fueled me. I think that even though my dad wanted me to do that program, you know, when I wasn't shown that I was serious, naturally, one would think that, okay, she's not going to finish the program, right? So,
Which is reasonable to
which is a
assume.
reasonable thing to assume. So, if I really think
At
about
your
it,
age, no. Yeah, you're
yeah,
thinking, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a reasonable thing to assume that, but I took it fueled me. You know, I think a lot of hurt and pain fuel me, just in general.
Yeah.
I've been through a lot of disappointment, but I never let that take me off the course of what I needed to do for myself as far as my career, because I always felt like, you know what, this is the one thing I have control over. You know, I used to say that, but also if I can really say it straight, I actually don't have control over that either. You know, because at the end of the day, if I'm really saying that God is the one for everything, do I really have control over this? So I truly believe that I'm here because this is where God wanted me to be. Like I was supposed to be here. And when we talk about faith, when I was saying that, I think that God had to take me away. He did. He had to take me away where I only had him. I had no friends. I had no family. I spent a lot of time, a lot of my adulthood, as contrary to what people think about me, a lot of my adulthood, I'm alone. I have been alone. I've been in places I know nobody. I am always alone. And I think that those situations happen is because God wants to talk to me, or God wants me to see something or understand something about myself or whatever plans he has for me. But in that time, during that time, I needed to find God for myself. I was 18. I was always going to church with my mom, following whatever she believed,
Correct.
you know. But once I got out there, I found God for me. I was able to hear God for myself, and that's been the trajectory of everything else for my life since then.
Yeah, we're gonna dig into faith some, but I just want to talk to you about so much. You said the negativity. That's what you're really saying. Negativity or doubt, those type of stuff fuel it. So if somebody say, "Oh, you're black, you're female," or "Oh, you're this, you're that," you're gonna look at that and say, "Well, you said I'm that, but I say what I am."
Correct.
Right? You are operating, and this thing is a recurring theme. Just like I said, immigrants get the job done. I think this whole locus of control theme has been going through a lot of the podcasts. Essentially, you didn't look at what somebody said about you to define you.
No.
And that takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
Especially, I kind of wanted to build into it, but let me kind of go into it a little bit more, especially living in a society, as you mentioned, black, female, that push certain stereotypes,
Yeah.
right, in your direction. And you're like, no, I am not what you think I am. I'm going to
Yeah.
take the locus of control on me,
Yeah.
and I'm going to determine my future. What could you say to just in general young girls or other women, no matter class, ethnicity, whatever, that
Yeah.
may, because everybody feel it,
For sure.
that may come up across these type of emotions or feeling and essentially stay down, like, oh, you got down and you got up, but they
Yeah.
decide to stay down. What would you say to somebody like that?
I would say that what people say about you isn't real. It is only as real as what you believe. You know, so like people can say you're this and you're that. It only becomes real if you start to believe that. So, you know, it doesn't matter what people say. It's what do you think about yourself? Where do you see yourself? And if you hold on to that, if you have the power to hold on to that, and I will mention it again, believe in God.
Yeah, have
But
faith.
if you can do this, then you'll understand that it doesn't matter how people try to define you. It's however you define yourself. So I will speak for myself, right? People, even up until today, I'll meet people like, "Oh, you don't like a doctor." I don't even know what that means.
Right?
You know, no, I have no idea what that means. What does that even mean? What is a doctor supposed to look like?
Yeah.
You know, so, oh, you look like you should be doing this, or you look like that, or you look like this. I've heard a lot of different things, and I find it funny, and I actually kind of like that. It's a little bit of a chameleon. Like they meet you, they're like, oh, they don't take you seriously. Cool. I like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I know exactly who I am, right? That's all that's important. And the people that meet me and the people that actually know me, they know exactly who I am.
100%.
So it's not nobody's confused as to say, "Oh, she's one of those girls." No, she's not.
Yeah.
Talk to her, you know. So it starts with your mind. Doesn't matter what they say. Don't make it real. Don't believe it. You know, it can only be as real as what you believe.
Because that belief, what you believe, do become real in many regards.
Yeah.
And I can relate to some degree, just being an immigrant, coming here, going to school, in one place. It's a whole long story, but I won't go into it. In a whole state, Missouri, Missouri. Even up to today, my mom called it Missouri, St. Charles, Missouri. Left from Missouri to New York.
Yeah.
Like 18, 19, 20 years old, big city. Left from there to Gresham, Oregon.
Oh, I didn't know you went there.
Gresham, Oregon.
Okay.
And just being completely alone,
Yeah.
it really kind of create an inner strength.
It does.
Yeah, it make you find yourself.
It do. It forces you to find yourself, and it
Forces you.
changes you
Yeah,
completely.
I would say for the better.
I think for the better, to a degree. Nobody should be alone forever, right?
You see, the thing is, yeah, you're right to a degree. I do think it helps you to foster relationship, because I ended up finding relationships that people just meet me and decide they want to become my parents.
Yeah.
Even today, I still call them my
Still your
American
parents.
parent. They would drive all the way down from Washington, all the way to Oregon to come to my track meets.
That's favor.
You know what? You said the word. It's absolute favor. So you get into the idea now that, you're going to become a doctor. You get out the giddiness. Let me just say it for what it is. As a young 18-year-old, just, frolicking around, 18-year-old, and you decide you want to become serious.
Yes.
How did you structure your life or structure your decision-making process to see the goal? Because I know there's a lot of micro goals up to this goal that we're at right now. what's your strategy? Like you see something, you plan it out. What is Patricia's strategy to attain goals? What's your strategy?
I envision myself there,
Okay.
and then I figure out how to get there. And sometimes I give myself a timeline, right? So even with the whole medical school thing, back then when I was working as a nurse, I remember I had no mentors, I had no advisors or anything, and then one day I hear that medical school is 8 years. I was like, 8 years? Where am I gonna find the time? And I remember I was working with this one nurse at that time. I was studying for MCAT, and I was just expressing to her my frustration, like this is more time of my life. And she says, "Well, listen here, honey. You're either gonna be 30 and a doctor or 30 and a nurse. You decide." And after she told me that, I never looked at age or the time like that again. I didn't let that to be a deterrent of what my goal was. So I I started to restructure just myself in general. So even if we go back to LVN, I was like, okay, this is only a 1 year program. And I focused on I'm gonna be honest, I focused on how much money I'm gonna make because I was 18 and I needed money.
Understood.
Right? And in addition to that, I needed to learn the concept of discipline. And so that came with me learning how to lose weight.
Okay.
You know, my weight has always been a thing. So I started learning how to work out. I started
Some
running.
type of Weight Watcher thing at one point?
I was on Atkins.
Atkins,
Yes,
okay.
I was on Atkins.
I'm not just trying to throw your
Oh, you
business
didn't
out
throw
there,
me
but it
out
was
there.
already public information,
It's
right?
public information. I was in their book. But yeah, I did Atkins, and I started working out, and I fell in love with running. My dad was always a runner, you know, and I could never ever keep up with him. But then in Seguin, I started running, and I started going like long distances.
When we say Seguin, where is that?
That is literally like 45 minutes outside of San Antonio.
Okay, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Uh-huh.
And I started creating discipline. So discipline in every areas of my life. It wasn't just books. It was I need to lose weight. I need to figure out how to do this. I need to figure out how to pass this class. Like I started restructuring every part of my life. So like now that I'm a real adult now, like exercising is a part of my lifestyle. You know, there's different things that are part of my lifestyle because I think those things, that discipline helps you.
Yes.
And so that was also part of the process too. So whenever I want to do something with myself, I say, okay, this is what it is. What do I have to do to get there? And I just focus on that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you basically see the goal and work backwards,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. And I envision myself.
You envision yourself.
Yeah. I envision myself doing it.
And that's an important
Yeah.
thing.
If I can see it, I
What
can
does that
do
look
it.
like? What does that look like? Do you meditate? Do you just pray? What do you do to see yourself there?
I think it's like daydreaming.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's like a childlike
neat.
thing. It's a
Yeah,
childlike thing
this
for
is
me.
neat. Daydreaming. That's
I'll
what's up.
daydream myself. I daydream myself into a lot of different scenarios. And, you know, most times the reality of it is better than even what I daydreamed, right?
Wow.
You know, so I daydream myself doing it or being that person and I see myself doing it. I'm like, that's me. I can do this. You know, so, you know, like right now, I'm envisioning myself and I'm daydreaming that I have $1 billion. God is hearing it.
Yes.
And I claim it.
Yes.
So it's the same thing, right? Like I can see myself being something, I can do it. If you can see it, you can do it. That's it.
You can do it. And some people hear stuff like that, right? And people are on frequencies in life. And just like they're not on that frequency and they hear somebody, even like yourself, who started from zero, basically, love, family, and support, basically that, to take it, which is really everything. But you didn't have like, you didn't come from like great means and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So you had a foundation and you took it to another level. You'd have folks that never got to that level, and they would hear somebody say something like daydream.
Mm.
and they'll immediately switch their brain off. They're like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Yeah.
But it's a wavelength that you have to be on, right? So when you started leveling up yourself, how did that attract others around you to help facilitate that? Because you cannot be that in isolation. I know that for sure. It's hard.
Yeah.
At least, what are some key figures that came into your life? You mentioned a nurse that said you're going to turn the specific age anyways. And you mentioned different events. What are like key figures that you've met throughout your life that helped you propel?
I will say that if I could be very honest, someone asked me this the other day.
Really?
Somebody literally just asked me this the other day,
Interesting.
and I had no one to name. And why I
You know, I'm
said
not surprised, but keep going.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you why I'm not surprised, but keep going.
I had no one to name. There was nobody that, and I'm very honest. There's no one that came in to say, Trish, hey, let me help you. Let me show you this, or let me introduce you to this person, or anything like that. No one did that. And if I go back to talk about like mentors, that's why I'm bringing this up, is like, it's important to have mentors. I remember trying to seek information from people.
That's why I'm
and
not
people would
surprised.
shut me out. That looked like me. People would shut me out. They wouldn't respond to my messages. You know, they wouldn't answer my phone calls.
Really?
You know, and I remember feeling like, dang, this person doesn't think I'm ever gonna be what I say I'm trying to do, right?
They thought
So-
you were daydreaming.
Yeah, I was daydreaming. That I was in La La Land. Yeah. But what I think motivated me is that despite the fact that I didn't have that, it's what my friends and my family, they believed in me. Like, even when I didn't believe in myself, they believed in me. They would say, no, Trish, you can do this. Like, words are so powerful, because I'm just thinking about even many conversations I even have with your wife, you know? She'll be like, oh, no, you're the smartest person I know. You can do this, you can do that. It's those things motivated me to keep going, like, well, I don't want to disappoint everybody.
She does the same for me too, so I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying.
I don't want to disappoint everybody. Everybody believes in me, you know? And my siblings, it's sometimes people see things in you you don't see in yourself. And I think that was the biggest motivation push that helped me throughout my journey.
Your tribe. You didn't need much than what you already had.
I didn't need much of what I already had, because they always believed in me. I would tell them, oh, I have this big titty, like, Trish, we're not worried about you because you're going to knock it out.
Yeah.
And not because they're trying to give me a motivational speech. They truly believe this,
I believe it. Yeah.
you know? And that what an awesome gift. What a beautiful gift that people actually believe in you,
Yeah.
you know? So even if you have one person, you just need one person to believe in you.
True.
You know, it's enough. That's enough motivation.
Yeah.
So that's what I had. I do wish I had mentors. I wish that I had that.
Speak on that.
Yes.
Mentorship and how important you think it
Mentorship
is.
is extremely important. I will say that I just finished my residency in internal medicine, and I wanted to do fellowship in cardiology. Cardiology is very, very competitive, very competitive. And so a lot of it is you need to network, you need to meet people, you need to get mentors, you need to get advisors. So coming from somebody who doesn't know how to do that, who's never had to do that, because I've always just worked hard, looked things up, and figured my way out.
Yeah.
That's hard now. So I threw myself into, I joined the ACC, the American College of Cardiology. They had like an internal medicine program. I joined that. And through there, they provided mentorship. And I met an awesome doctor who helped me, right? And even though it was unsuccessful, I did not match, right, last year. Just the fact that he helped me, you know, he got me an interview with his program. That was a big deal to me. And so I know that I understand the importance of it. There's people that I know who matched. It's because of mentorship,
True.
connections, all these different things, networking. So it's important.
You said something. You said something about having true support, and that's a wonderful gift, and you could not overstate that, because if you look at the general trajectory of most people, and let me point out how much of a gift this is. They said there's like a saying, right? They said a king is never crowned in his local area or something like that. Sometimes you got to step out. I'm paraphrasing it, but
Yeah,
it's
I've
similar.
heard something similar. Yeah.
Yeah, you had that earlier on, and that kept going with you, and I think that's like a strong premise for you, because normally what you would see is you're growing up, right? And people who know you, they're like, oh, yeah, they just know the 18-year-old Trish.
Yes. They don't know them. They don't know me.
Yeah, they don't know how much you have matured, right?
I agree.
Yeah, and then that can be a premise for people to kind of stay stuck. A lot of time, individual are on a journey,
Yeah.
similar to what you pursued, and they will get those type of notion that, okay, well, this is not gonna happen, or that's not gonna happen. And honestly, a lot of time it comes from the closest people to you.
Yeah.
But you just said the closest people to you, they believed in you and they kept believing you. That is an absolute gift. And this is bar family, friends, it does not matter.
Yeah.
The closest one, because they just know the immature person. So now when you're elevating, it's hard for them to not see you
Yeah,
the
it's
way
true.
you were as not mature.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people kind of get stuck in that level. But for you, you're able to elevate over and over to really become more than what you would even possible decide, you would want to get to, or not what you would want to get to, but where you'd possibly even imagine. Because you said
Yeah.
like your daydream, you surpass it sometimes.
Yeah.
Many folks would have those same type of feelings as far as where they want to progress, and they don't create the level of structure that you did. You mentioned just now that you even lost weight till you even got on the Weight Watcher program.
It was
in
Atkins, not Weight Watchers,
No,
y'all.
my bad, right? Atkins, right? But that in itself is a great thing.
Yeah.
Where did you pull that from now to say, okay, well, I look like this and I want to look like this and I'm going to work for that? Because a lot of times people will feel a certain way and they just kind of stay stuck.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure that out.
Well, I struggled with my weight my entire life. And, this is back to that point about you, whatever people say is only real if you believe it, right?
Yeah.
So I think I can speak for a lot of us ladies when I say sometimes you're looking at yourself, you're like, oh man, I'm so fat right now. And then a couple years later, you're looking at yourself now and you're like, I wasn't even fat then. What was I talking about? Because now I'm really fat, So it's one of those things where I always struggled with my weight, but I never knew how to lose weight. So I would always do these different little yo-yo diets trying to lose weight. But at a certain point, though, I started becoming out of control with eating. And
Interesting.
that was directly connected to my emotions, feeling sad, if things didn't work out, or just, I think to a degree, I've always had like this little bit of like sadness thing, I dealt with my entire life. So my emotions were directly connected to me eating, and I started to lose control. And I got so big to the point that if I started walking, my lower back would hurt.
Understood.
And I hated it. And I was like, I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I feel. I need to do something about it. And so I started eating 1 apple a day and
Really?
a chicken salad. Yeah. And one day I was trying to be overzealous. I was walking to school, but that didn't really last long. I eventually found a track.
Okay.
So I started going to the track, walking on the track. And in that LVN program that I was in, a lot of the ladies, some of the ladies were overweight too. They always talking about they on a diet, but they weren't losing no weight.
Interesting.
And by myself, I had lost like maybe 20 pounds doing what I was doing. And there was another lady in my class, her name was also Patricia.
Okay.
And so she was like, you want to lose weight? And I was like, yeah. She's like, let's show these bees how to really lose weight. And she's the one who introduced me to Atkins.
Okay.
She tells me, you're going to eat protein, you eat vegetables, drink water, you keep your exercise, and you'll be fine. Day 3, I woke up drenched in sweat.
Really?
From overnight, I called her panicking, thinking I was dying. I'm like, Patricia, I'm sweating in the night. She's like, that's good, you're burning fat. I was like, really? So I just kept on it. And Lord and behold, I lost 90 pounds.
That's
And
a lot of...
yeah, I lost 90 pounds that 1 year. People thought I did weight loss surgery, which I think is still crazy up until now.
Wait, that's no joke. We could have a
Yeah.
whole podcast about weight loss.
But
That's
if you,
intense, yeah.
Yeah, but if you consider the fact I was 19, my metabolism, I was still young.
Yeah.
So losing that kind of weight was actually fairly easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I took exercising very seriously. I worked out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like I was just working out for 20 minutes. No. I would be out there for like an hour, 2 hours on the track and field doing the absolute most to lose weight. Because it became an addiction.
Yeah.
It was like I come home, I get on the scale, I'm like,
man,
I'm 5 pounds down? I was like, come on, I could do this again.
Yeah.
Come back, I'm another 10 pounds down. I was so addicted to it. I was addicted to the endorphins. I was like, oh, I'm losing weight. It did get to a point I started to look sick, though. You know,
Oh, really?
I started going too far. But,
Keep going.
but as far as the weight is concerned, that's what it was. And then from there, obviously, I'm not as small as I used to be. I start to calm down. I'm a woman now.
No,
so
you good. You good. That in itself is quite a journey that you propel yourself to. But where do you just going forward? Because you I can see that you envision yourself. And what does Patricia dream look like, say, over her next 3 to 5 years? What does that dream? You're dreaming now? What does that?
Dreaming
look like?
now?
Yeah, you're the same daydream that took you from coming from the Southwest to a whole doctor. Like, what does that dream look like for you now?
I think the dream for me now is to be more finer than I am.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think you can achieve. I don't think you can go beyond where you are right now because you're as fine could be.
But also, in the next couple years, I dream to be a practicing physician, a cardiologist, God willing.
Okay.
And now, this phase of my life, I want a family.
Okay.
I want to have children. That's a dream come true. So, career, family, children, my friends, my immediate family.
Yeah.
That is my dream.
You said something, that, with family, and family is very important. And it's such a blessing. You having your family now is just, because you only have a great relationship with family. So it's only going to continue in your direct DNA, that is phenomenal. I myself have kids, 4 little girls, and they look up to you, right? Significant, and I love it. So I'm gonna talk about something now, a little bit personal.
Yeah.
So we all went to watch Barbie the other day.
Lord.
Me, you, my wife, and all my children, right? Went to watch Barbie, and like 2/3 of the movie, you decided to leave.
No, actually, I had an appointment.
You had an appointment. Okay, so you had an appointment. Okay, so you left, but you did not like that movie.
Oh.
Or did you like that movie?
No, the movie was cute.
It was cute?
The movie was a cute movie. However, they didn't have to make it on the big screen. That's what I was saying. But the movie was actually a really cute movie.
It was cute.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't what I expected though, but it was a really cute movie.
Because it's a big.
It made me
topic
feel
now.
like a kid. I mean, I felt happy on the inside. You know, it was super cute, super pretty. And then also the woman empowerment part I thought was like the best thing about the movie, obviously. But no, I just thought it was gonna be more than what it was. But it was a super cute movie.
It underwhelmed you.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
just like,
I understand. We had an amazing guest on today. Therefore, we had to, and we were going for quite a while, in all honesty, because there was so much valuable information. We have not done this in a while, no, but we ended up had to split this segment into two. So look out for part 2 on next week, and we are super excited about this one, guys. So make sure you check it out.